I am an individual member of the Metastatic Breast Cancer Alliance, a research patient advocate, and someone who was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer 7 years ago. I joined the Alliance because I support their mission for extending life, enhancing quality of life, and to end the death and suffering of patients who are diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. So, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is quickly approaching, and I wanted to address an issue with clinical trial participation. So, why are clinical trials important? Well, they help us to advance treatment options. It helps researchers identify which therapies work best for specific types of cancer. It's an active way that patients can contribute to science, and it helps us to gain knowledge about metastatic breast cancer. It offers hope to patients through the approval of new cancer treatments. It's estimated that fewer than 5% of adults with cancer participate in clinical trials, and that is largely due to many barriers. Some of those barriers may include lack of access to the sites where trials are being run, transportation, travel costs, childcare, lack of insurance, and clinical barriers include narrow eligibility criteria. It's not uncommon in metastatic breast cancer clinical trials that males with MBC, as well as patients with active brain and CNS metastases, are excluding from participating in clinical trials. And this leads to missing data for those patients. So how do we address these barriers? And how would I reimagine that clinical trials would look in the future? We could streamline the process, simplify the language on the informed consent, which would benefit patients and healthcare providers, decentralize trials, allow remote monitoring, educate patients and oncologists about the benefits of clinical trial participation, encourage those conversations to happen early on, and understand that clinical trials should not be saved or thought of as a last resort for patients. I also believe that in the future, if we could include access for all cancer patients to participate in clinical trials, that would lead to greater understanding and better drug development. If we look at the effectiveness of cancer therapies early on in phase 1 of clinical trials, not just looking at the maximum tolerated dose, but a range of doses, and finding the optimal dose for each individual patient based on their unique characteristics and attributes. Include funding to accommodate patient access, which would reduce some of those barriers. Gather PROs and real-world evidence, which can assist healthcare providers as well as patients in making the best decisions for treatment planning. Also, we need the right drug at the right dose for the right patient at the right time. We need to consider quality of life and the impact that combined therapies and experimental therapies have on patients. And lastly, consider what statistically significant means to patients. What is meaningful? Is it 2 months of progression-free survival? 7 months of overall survival? We need to really define what is meaningful for patients. And patients who are diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, they don't want to just live longer, they want to live better. So for those of you diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, talk to your oncologist about clinical trials, not just once, but throughout your treatment paradigm. Also, for healthcare providers, bring up the topic and educate your patients on clinical trials and how it can benefit by participating. For those designing clinical trials, consider the quality of life for patients and what is meaningful.